Okay, so quiet mode, and let's do day 7. Most people got number 1 right. Notice this will not be a V. A few people will give me a V for this. This is not absolute value. Do not make a V. We just start at -3 because that's my y-intercept. I go up 1, right 2 because that's the slope. Up 1, right 2 like this. Give me dots in both directions. So I want your line to be precise and complete. Okay? So that's where this line will go. And then of course you just draw the line connecting those dots. Alright, so that's what your answer should look like for number 1. Pretty much everyone had that. Any questions so far about that? Are we good? Okay, now number 2. Number 2 is just destroying you guys, so pay careful attention on number 2 right now. You need to get y by itself. We need to solve this for y. So that's the key to the problem. Make this a little smaller. So if I want to get y by itself, your first step should be to subtract 3x from both sides. Minus 3x minus 3x. Let me give myself space to write. Okay, so if I subtract 3x from both sides, then so far that gives me negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 12. Let me stop and make sure you guys are absorbing that. So many people got this wrong. I need to go real slow. I'm trying to get y by itself, so I got rid of the negative 3. On this side, that leaves me with this 12 and this negative 3x. But in the back of my mind, I'm trying to get this in like y equals mx plus b form. So instead of writing 12 minus 3x, I put the negative 3x first, and I put the positive 12 second. Did I lose anybody so far? Now I still need to get y by itself, so what do you think I'm going to do? Divide by negative 2. The easiest way to do that is just to divide by negative 2 in all 3 places like this. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. Put it in 3 places like I just did. Alright, that way these are going to cancel out. So I'm going to have y equals. Now there's not much I can do with this 3 over 2, but what do you get when you divide a negative divided by a negative? A positive. So do not leave these negative signs all over the place. Put positive 3 over 2 x. Now what do I get with the 12 divided by negative 2? Negative 6. So this is the equation that you come up with. Y equals 3 over 2x minus 6. Did everybody understand how I did that? From there, then now everyone gets it right. Okay? The tricky part was understanding how to rewrite the equation properly. Alright, so for that reason, your first dot goes at negative 6. Then you go up 3 over 2. Repeat, repeat. Okay, and make one to the left as well. So those red dots show me where to draw the line. Oops, I missed a little bit. Okay, so that's what number 2 should have looked like. Any questions about that? I can make that smaller. Alright. Number 3. There's an absolute value. This one's definitely going to be a V. I didn't see anybody giving me a straight line, so that was good. Maybe this will be the year that nobody gives me a straight line for an absolute value. Hopefully no one will give me a V for a straight line, like I saw this morning. Remember, I told you the best thing to do is to start with the vertex, guys. What's the vertex for number 3? 3, 2. So everyone should have started at 3, 2, like that. After that, you can start working your slope, which in this case is negative 2 over 1. So that's down 2, right 1. Repeat, repeat. Okay, that gives me the right-hand side of the V. And then I need to do the mirror image by going down to left 1, repeat, repeat. What's so funny? ¿Algo es chistoso? No creo. True. Okay, so that's what number 3 should look like. Questions? How we doing? Don't forget the domain and range. The domain was easy. Negative infinity to positive infinity. Range not too bad, but I did see some mistakes.
I thought minus 3 to the left.
Remember that inside the absolute value, things happen the opposite of what we would normally think. So negative 3 will actually take you to the right. Yeah, so the range is going to be what, sir? Negative infinity to 2 with a square bracket. Okay, bottom to top. Make sure you put 2, not 3 up there. Any questions? All right, and then number 4. What's the vertex of number 4, you guys? Negative 3, comma, negative 4. So there's negative 3, negative 4. Then I work the slope up to right 3. Repeat, repeat. All right, that's going to give me the right branch. Then I do the left branch by going up to left 3. And that's how you do that. Okay? So that's what number 4 should look like. Any questions? Alright, don't forget your domain and range. Real quick. Again, the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. What's the range, guys? Correct. Negative 4 to positive infinity. The order matters. So back on problem number 3. Make sure you didn't put the 2 first. It had to be negative infinity to 2, not the other way around. Okay? I want to give you a few more minutes to finish the back page. Alright, number 5. We got to graph this piecewise function. Just do one piece at a time. So starting with y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. That's what I'm going to graph first. If I'm going to graph that, I start with negative 1 because that's my y-intercept. And then the negative 1/2, that's down 1, right 2. Always go to the right. So down and to the right. Always go to the right, you guys. Okay, once you get your initial string, then you can repeat the pattern on the left side. Alright, so a lot of people had this line sloping the wrong way. It should be downhill. Look, we know it's negative because it has a negative in front of it, so it better be downhill. So always kind of check to make sure they match. Anyway, now we have to decide which way we're going to, which part of the line we're going to graph in. And it goes by this. We're going to graph the part where the x values are less than negative 2. That is the left-hand side of this line. Negative 2 though. Focus on the negative 2. X value of negative 2 is right here. This is the dot that has an x value of negative 2. Closed in circle because of the or equal to part. And then I draw in the left side of it like this. Okay, so everyone should have an arrow like that on their paper. Any questions so far? Alright, now I can erase the extra dots that I don't need. So that's the first piece. Now here comes the second piece. I'm graphing the line y equals x minus 2. I start with negative 2 for my first dot. And then I have x, so that's 1 over 1. So I'm just going to go up 1, right 1. Always go to the right. Okay, it's a lot of dots. Okay, so I've got that. Now I have to decide which part to draw. This has a beginning and an end, and I'm going to graph the part that's between. Starting at negative 2. Open circle at negative 2. So I go to an x value of negative 2, and I'm going to need an open circle there. So here's negative 2. So I put an open circle. The dot that had an x value of negative 2, I put an open circle there. And then at 3 is the other end of the segment, is at 3. X value of 3. So here's the one that has an x value of 3. So I put a closed circle there because it's or equal to. And then I just connect them. Okay, so that gives me the green. Any questions about where the green piece came from? And then you erase your extra dots. Hunter was accidentally putting a dot and leaving a dot inside of the open circle. I didn't get to look at everybody else's paper. Make sure you don't do that. If it's an open circle, leave it clean on the inside, okay? Completamente limpio. Al dentro? How do you say inside? Al dentro. Limpio al dentro. Completely clean inside. Otherwise, it's unclear. Okay, last one. Is that Hunter talking over there?
Yes.
Hunter, cut it out. Y equals 4. That's a horizontal line at 4. Uh-oh, I'm losing India. India. Wake up, sweetie. Horizontal line at 4. So that's going to be like this. Here's a horizontal line at 4. Yeah. Ka-cha. But I don't get to draw the whole thing. I only get to draw the part starting at 3. Open circle at 3 would be right here. There's my open circle at 3. And because it's greater than, I go to the right. So it's going to be like this. Okay. Alright, so that's what this problem should look like. That's what problem number 5 should look like. Any questions about problem number 5? Check your answer. Ask me now. Okay, moving on to number 6 then. Oh, we're supposed to say the domain and range first. Okay, the domain and range. Domain, once again, is negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? It doesn't have to be. The domain is not always negative infinity to positive infinity. Now the range. Nice. Okay? Except for that last words you said at the very end. He said the range was going to be negative 4 to positive infinity. Okay, that is correct. Bottom to top. Now, am I going to have square or round on these?
Round.
Both sides are going to get round. Okay? Round on the negative 4 as well as the infinity. Why? Why round on this one? Not included. Empty. See, it's an open circle. Open circle means it's not included, so I must leave it round. If it were a filled in circle, I would have made it square. So please make sure your range features a rounded parentheses because it's an open circle not included. Okay. Okay, cut the chatter. Cut the chatter. Alright, number 6 is going to be a little hard to draw because they're so tiny. They're very tiny. These are all horizontal lines, okay? So we're talking about y equals negative 3. Y equals negative 3. That's a horizontal line at negative 3. But then I'm supposed to draw the part that's between negative 2 and negative 1. So I'm going to do this. Here's negative 3. Here's a horizontal line at negative 3 for you. Okay, there's my horizontal line at negative 3. Fine and dandy. I need to make this bigger. Okay, but I'm going to graph the part that's between negative 2 and negative 1. Okay, so here I go. Better go small with it. So between negative 2 and negative 1 is going to be here and here. Negative 2 and negative 1, just like that. Which one is closed circle? The negative 1 is a closed circle because of, see the or equal to? I'll make this one a closed circle. Alright, and you just repeat that over and over again. So now I'm going to do, so now I'm going to do y equals negative 2. From negative 1 to 0. Okay, so first of all, I'm moving my little horizontal line. So here's negative 2 now. That orange line is now the line y equals negative 2. But I'm supposed to graph the part that goes from negative 1 to 0. So negative 1 is right here, and 0 is right here. Okay, so I have that little piece. What's next? Okay, y equals negative 1. Okay, so now I'm graphing this part. Y equals negative 1 from 0 to 1. Okay, y equals negative 1. Okay, the orange line is now the line y equals negative 1. But I'm supposed to draw the part from 0 to 1? Okay, 0 to 1. The 1 has a closed circle because the or equal to. So I've got that. Okay, one more piece. Okay, so now I'm going to graph y equals 0. And from 1 to 2. Okay, so y equals 0. That's the x-axis. So here's the line y equals 0. You see it in orange. But I'm supposed to graph the part from 1 to 2. Filled in circle at the 2. Okay, so this is what problem number 6 should have looked like. Check your paper. Is this what you have? Any questions on it? Now, one of the most common things I would predict that people would miss would be the range of this. Maybe even the domain as well. So watch this very carefully as far as domain and range, you guys. Because this function is unusual looking. Remember how I kept promising you that the domain would not always be negative infinity to positive infinity?
Yep.
Well, here we are. The domain is not negative infinity to positive infinity. What is the domain for this function, you guys? Negative 2 to positive 2. That's as far as it goes left and right. Negative 2 to positive 2. Okay, so that's thing number 1. Notice how I need a round parentheses on my negative 2, and yet I need a square on the positive 2. That's because on the left side, I have an open circle on the end. On the right side, I have a closed circle. So round, square. Now the range. Okay, if you said just negative 3 to 0, you were close, but wrong. Okay, and I expected a bunch of people to put that. Does anybody know what I need to do for the range of this problem? Yes, on a range like this, we have to list them because of the gaps. When you look vertically, we are not hitting all the y values. There are open spaces in between the y values. We are only hitting 4 y values, and that's it. Not all the decimals in between. So what are the 4 y values I'm hitting? Correct. Negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. Those are the 4 y values. So for the range, we simply list them with these little fancy brackets. So what was it? Negative 4, negative 3. Oh, whoops, I missed. The fancy bracket, that's right. Oh, yeah. Negative 1 and 0. That's how you do the range when it's just certain values. Any questions on that? Okay, moving on to number 7. Evaluate the function. All right, evaluate means we're just going to plug it in. Are you going to give me 2 answers for this, you guys?
No.
No, do not give me 2 answers, only 1. So which one of these expressions am I going to plug into?
4x.
How do I know to use the 4x?
Because it's less than or equal to.
Okay, because negative 5 is less than or equal to negative 1. That tells us to use the top one. So that means I need to do 4x, so I need to do 4 times negative 5. So that's negative 20. Alright, so for everyone should have gotten negative 20 for number 7. Any questions about that? Okay, it's just a matter of knowing which one to use. Alright, write a piecewise function for the graph. Alright, some kids have trouble with this, so watch this carefully. Alright, let me change can I change the color still? Come on, give me this little line. I don't know if they'll let me do it or not. Yeah, nice. Okay, I like to have red and blue. It makes me feel better. So I'm going to do the red one first. I'm just going to write an equation for this red line, you guys. I'm talking y equals mx plus b. Easy, I think. Maybe? Yeah? Y equals. Is this a positive or negative slope, you guys? The red one. Negative slope, you guys. Don't look at the arrow. Don't go, oh, the arrow is pointing up, so it's positive. No, it doesn't work like that. From left to right, this is going downhill. Remember? That's how we do it. Downhill. So this is a negative slope. So when I write this equation, the first thing I should see is a negative sign. Now, negative what? Yeah, negative x, right? It's just going down 1, right 1, yes?
Yeah.
So that's just negative x. Then comes the y-intercept. What is it? Negative 4. There's my y-intercept right there. So it's going to be negative x minus 4. Now, what's the cutoff value, you guys, that I'm going to use next? I heard India say 1. And that's correct, because the cutoff value is where it jumps. You know what I mean? Where it changes from the red piece to the blue piece. That orange line is where it jumps. That's at positive 1. So keep that in your mind for the if part. Okay? So here's what we're supposed to have then. Switch up. So we're going to have f of x equals. You need to write all this. I need to see f of x. I need to see a giant fancy bracket thing. And then I'm going to have my negative x minus 4 if x is less than 1. Okay, do you understand why it's less than? Do you understand why I did not say or equal to? Okay, I didn't lose anybody?
Where do you get negative 4?
Because the y-intercept, I got negative 4 because that's where it touches the y-axis. Okay? I should have done that in red, my bad. Okay, now I'm going to do the blue one. The blue one, here we go. Y equals. Let's see if we can get this right this time, you guys. The blue line, is it a positive or a negative slope? ¿Qué dijiste? It's a negative slope. It's also downhill. Both of these lines are going downhill. So it's going to be negative something. Negative what? Negative 2x. And then what's the y-intercept? Plus 4. Because isn't it going to hit there if I continue this line more? So plus 4. So negative 2x plus 4. So this graph is going to go negative 2x plus 4 if x is greater than or equal to 1. Alright, what's the last one? Alright, last but not least, let's do problem number 9. Which function is equivalent to this absolute value function? If I were you, I would start by graphing the absolute value function. Start by determining what is the vertex. Okay, the vertex is going to be negative 1, comma, negative 2. The opposite of the inside part, and the outside part stays the same as the y value. So there's the vertex. Let's go ahead and graph that. Negative 1, comma, negative 2. It'd be right here. So there's the vertex. Now, for additional points, I'm going to use this negative 3. It will be the slope of the right-hand side. So I'm going to be going down 3, right 1. So from the vertex, down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1. And if I do the mirror image of that, that would be like down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. So this shows me where the graph is and what it looks like. Okay? Alright, so this is what the graph is. So now it's time to write the equations. Let's start with the left side, which I've colored red. In my mind, I'm thinking y equals mx plus b. So y equals. Now, it's time for the x part, the mx, the slope comes next. Looking at this red line, it seems to go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. That's because it has a slope of 3. That's how I know this equation will start off y equals 3x. Notice this is an uphill line. From left to right, it's going uphill. I know it's positive. Now, the y-intercept. I got to be a little bit careful about the y-intercept because the red branch doesn't actually touch the y-axis. But if I continue the pattern, up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1, blam! This is the y-intercept. Let me just make a couple more. Okay, if I continue this line like this, I would see that my y-intercept is right here. Okay, so my y-intercept is 1. So that's why I'm going to have 3x plus 1. Okay, now I'll do the blue side. So I need y equals mx plus b. Y equals. The slope Well, if the red side is positive 3x, the blue side will be negative 3x, down 3 over 1. Now the y-intercept of this is easier to see because I can just look right and see where it touches the y-axis. So this is my y-intercept, and it is negative 5. So that makes this negative 3x minus 5. Okay? So if I were going to make a piecewise function out of these two things, here's what it would look like. I would have f of x equals, and then I would have 3x plus 1, all right, that's this part, if x is less than what? What is the cutoff point where it changes from the red branch to the blue branch? What's basically the x value of the vertex? Well, it's negative 1, okay? If I drew a vertical line right here, this is the vertical line that splits this down the middle. That vertical line is at negative 1. So that is the value that I'm going to use when I'm talking about less than this, greater than that. So if x is less than 1 to the left of the cutoff. And then the blue side would look like this. Let's see, I've got negative 3x minus 5. So negative 3x minus 5 if x is greater than or equal to 1. Now in a problem like this, it really doesn't matter where the equal to line is. It could be less than or equal to 1 and greater than 1. So I won't let that throw me. But, oh wait, it's negative 1. I don't know why I put positive 1. That's negative 1, and this is also negative 1. Okay, so right away, the fact that these have to be negative 1, because that's where the cutoff is at negative 1, that means it can't be D. So I definitely throw that out. Now look at this blue one here. Let's see. Negative 3x minus 5. That seems to match right there. Positive 3x plus 1. That seems to match right there. Okay, greater than negative 1, yep. Less than negative 1, yep. So B is the answer, and that's why. The answer is B. And that's all.